In the realm of death and blood that is the entity realm, some survivors and killers are above the average. You hardly see them, but when you do, it could be either a blessing for you or a curse. These are the legends of Dead by Daylight. The Servant of Pinhead. The Chatterer. As a pre-teenage boy, Jim frames his mother for the murder of his abusive father and is sent to an orphanage, where he and the other adolescents are taught that they will be useless to society. There, he engaged in a homosexual relationship with a boy named Seth, and regularly prays to the god of love for affection. After turning 16, Jim joins Seth in becoming a prostitute, which his clients will often compliment his physical appearance, to his disgust. One day, one of his clients asks him what his deepest desire is, to which he replies, to be loved. Later, he is asked again by the client what his desire is, this time replying, to be ugly, believing that people will love him for who he is. The client hands him a Lamont configuration, and he begins to serve who he is told is the god of pain and desire by distributing the Lamont configurations to various people. Years later, he comes across a blinded Seth who was punished by their former pimp for Jim's decision to leave. Jim is told by another one of Hell's servants to make him solve a configuration. Instead, Jim and Seth engage in sexual intercourse, and Seth begins to angrily confess how much he hates Jim during the act. That night, Seth leaves without opening the configuration, and Jim's desire is granted as he is forcibly disfigured by the jealous god of pain and pleasure. Jim's story ends with him becoming a summoning angel with clicking teeth. As a Cenobite, Chatterer joined Pinhead's Gash years later. He would deliver pain and pleasure with his master and the rest of the Gash, particularly one of Frank Cotton, who has solved the puzzle box to unlock new pleasures. Unfortunately for him, he will not get that. However, Frank would escape. It is uncertain how he did, but then the box was open once again. They were called by one Christy Cotton, Frank's niece. Chatterer was the first to appear, shoving his fingers down Christy's throat to stop her from screaming. The rest of the Gash appeared as they were ready to take the girl away. However, Christy made a deal with them. If she can give them Frank, if Christy could find Frank and give him to them, maybe they'll let her go. Just maybe. But if she doesn't,
we'll tear your soul apart.
Luckily for Christy, she was able to give Frank back to the Cenobites, who was disguised in Christy's father's skin. After the uncle was torn apart and sent back to Hale's jailers for revealing himself to the Cenobites, Christy found that they weren't going to be true to their word, and so she sent Pinhead and the female Cenobite back to Hell by starting the box again. Chatterer, who had disguised himself with a veil, was about to lay his knife into Christy, and she solved the box again and sent him to Hell. Soon, the box will be found somewhere else, in a different place entirely, and it would be opened by a person that didn't know any better. Pain and pleasure will be brought here in this new realm, and the Chatterer will assist Pinhead. He always did, and he always will. If the Chatterer appeared much sooner than expected, he would have these perks. Hex, Devour Hope. A hex rooting its power on hope. The false hope of survivors ignites the Chatterer's servitude. Each time a survivor is rescued from a hook, while you are at least 24 meters away, Hex Devour Hope receives 1 token, up to the maximum of 5 tokens. Deadlock. You induce mental suffering by crushing any hope of escape. When a generator is completed, the entity blocks the generator with the most progression for 30 seconds. Hex. Plaything. A hex that toys with a victim's suffering. If there is at least 1 dull totem remaining in the trial grounds, Hex Plaything activates on a random totem each time a survivor is hooked for the first time. All effects of the Hex perk persist until the Hex totem is cleansed or blessed.
Explorers in the further regions of experience, demons to some, angels to others.